guys, this is Haifisch doing what is hopefully the first of many videos on StarCraft. This video right here, the series I'm going to try to do, is called This Is Why I Suck. And I do, but I'm still going to, in this series, be going through some replays I did on ladder. Looking at what happened, analyzing my replays, and trying to figure out how to suck just a little bit less. Now, I'm probably just gonna, let's get in here actually and find some replays so I'm not just talking into thin air. I had a frustrating game earlier on Tal'Darim, ZVP, so that's what I want to look at. Just for information's sake, I'm mid-masters, most of my opponents are somewhere in that area. And let's get everything set up here. I don't observe nearly as much as I should, so it's going to take me a moment to remember all the keys. But okay, let's get started. We're on Tal'Darim, which is not a map I like for ZVP. I don't think it's a map anyone really likes for ZVP, unless you're a huge fan of doing big Ling Roach busts on a Forge Fast expand. That's just because it's really, really easy for Protoss to turtle up on 3 bases after a Forge Fast expand. And once the Protoss gets to 3 bases, it can be really tough. It can be really tough to attack efficiently up these ramps because of force fields. And if you can't attack the Protoss, you can't trade armies, which is almost a requirement in ZVP to do well. But that being said, I'm in upper left, he's in the bottom right, which is good. Cross map is always best for Zerg, I think. And he's going to Forge Fast expand. That doesn't surprise anybody in the entire world. I need to turn my volume down so the game sounds aren't blowing my ears out here. Always Forge Fast expand basically for Protoss on this. If you don't see a Forge Fast expand, they're either retarded or cheesing. I'm not sure which. But on maps like this, and on most maps other than something like perhaps Shattered Temple or XNC, I'm always just going to do a 15 pool and then hatchery after that. Doing a hatch first is ballsy, but since you know they're Forge Fast expanding and they're almost always going to get this early scout out, you're asking for tears if you do that. You do not want to get your natural cannoned up. Bad players will cannon, back here, back here. Good ones will do really irritating shit, dropping cannons in a pylon down here where your overlord, even if you have one sitting here, is not going to see it. Which, requires extra scouting, an even longer drone pull if you want to get down there, and, IMO, it's just not worth it to hatch first. But here we go. Spawning pool is out, and, my scout is probably going to go out pretty soon. Yep, there he is. This is the first time I'm looking at the replay, so, I'm probably going to pause at some points and just kind of speculate as to what's going on as I'm trying to figure out what's happening. So he does drop a Forge before the Nexus, which is fine. I think you can do it either way on this map, probably, unless you're terrified of the Zerg all-inning you really quickly. Which wouldn't be too surprising. It's ladder. People do all sorts of crazy shit. Now, this just seems dumb to me. I guess maybe he saw that I moved my Overlord because I want to be able to do the scout on his main pretty quickly. But I'm going to send a drone down to do the Overlord's job. And putting the pylon there, he's going to cancel it. But, it's just tossing away 75 minerals. I probably should have only made 4 lings here. Even though the pylon was in a bad position, I had some fears about just how aggressive he wanted to be with the cannoning. But, even 4 lings is fine, 2 lings is fine. Now, 6 lings isn't that bad, though, because you really want to break these rocks down ASAP. I send 1 ling out because I saw his probe running away. I was somewhere else, I guess, but I catch back up to it, I believe. And I can just start working on those rocks and take a more timely third. Some people like taking a third here, like taking a third here. I don't. They're so exposed. And if he does any sort of like 6-gate shenanigans, or even like a 2-star port play, those thirds become really obnoxious to defend. So I like to just, have the early lings, take down the rocks, and get the safer third while journeying everything up in here. So nothing too surprising right now. I'd say I'm doing fine. Haven't screwed anything up too bad. Saturation looks okay. Oh yeah, that's the one that was chasing the probe. I'm like, how did he get there? He's giving them hugs. So we're looking good. No gas yet, which is typical for me in ZVP, unless I think he's going to be stupidly aggressive. there's no real reason for me to take gas early. I can just get more drones out faster. Now, did I not fix my rally? Yeah, my rally's good. Okay, wonderful. I forget about that a lot of the time, and then I end up with too many drones, and then I yell at them and say nasty things about their work habits, and yeah, then they don't mind as much. Now, what I should be doing, I should be spreading these overlords. I get really lazy about this in ZVP just because so few Protoss players are smart enough to build a Warp Prism. I love you, Protoss players, if you're listening. But really, you see it so often that I have not developed that habit. You know, against Terran, my overlords are all over the fucking place because almost all of them drop. Looks like they're moving eventually. But you know, it's tough to learn to play a certain way if you're not forced to play that. You know, that might sound silly. But the best way to learn good habits is to be forced to use them, because if you're not being punished for bad play, you just stick with it, you know? So I need to play better people, I guess, that punish me for doing stuff like leaving Mr. Overlord right there, because that's not where he wants to be. No, he should be going on a magical adventure. Now he's dropping a pylon here, which I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. A lot of Zerg just want to take this as their third. And pylon on the upper ground is yet another reason why it is really obnoxious to defend this third. I have my Lings out. You know, I probably should be sending the Overlord already. I know, and if anyone watching this is thinking in their head, scouting is my number one problem with this game. I don't scout aggressively enough. And I think I react really well to what I find. Inject is slow, I'm bad, so bad. But I don't scout as aggressively as I should, which leads to bad things, because if I get caught off guard, that never ends well. Now he has a Twilight here, which I have not scouted. This Overlord is actually in a great scouting path, but this really unusual cannon placement right here just fucks his world. I don't think he could have gotten away even if I had seen it. And he's good. I don't think a lot of Protoss put all their tech right here. And you know, I see these gates as they come up, but gateways aren't too surprising. I mean, I'd like to see starports, so I really would have liked to see this, which that Overlord would have caught, but for this weird rock-killing cannon play. Now that pylon I haven't caught yet. He probably scooted around while the thing was building, but I think I sniffed that out. Now I have all this stuff up. Now a mistake that I know is coming. There's the Dark Shine. Yeah, a mistake that I know is coming, which really I think was probably the death knell for me this game, maybe, in addition to other fuck-ups, is I wasn't ready for that Dark Shine. And I should have been, because my lair is timely. It's almost half done. I have an Evo chamber already working on that +1 attack. There's no reason whatsoever for me to be caught off guard by Protoss here, especially when I'm floating, you know, 1,100 minerals. You know, I get supply blocked a lot, which is surprising to me, because I always try to remind myself not to do it. Too many drones, probably too few drones, but happens all the time. Now, my drone lead is humongous here, which I'm still learning how to macro. My macro was terrible forever, and it still kind of is if you look at the minerals tab. But I still get screwed up with the Overlord placement sometimes. Now, I think I take all of my gas pretty soon. Yeah, I take those gas. I think I take these gas pretty shortly. But really, there's no reason. Yeah, and look at all the DTs. Oops, I didn't build my third there. Too bad for you. But it's not going to save me any, because despite the fact that I have my lair up, I have 2 fucking Evo chambers. I could build double spore crawlers. That's not how it works. But I should have a spore here. There's no reason whatsoever not to have a spore here and to have a spore or an overseer here. And what's funny is in the game, I clicked on one of my overlords earlier to make an overseer, but my lair wasn't done yet, and then I just kind of forgot about it. And those kind of mistakes can really bite you in the ass, as you're about to see. This is going to be some potent ass biting, because there's nothing I can do. And that's funny, you see, I'm dropping the spores right as the DTs come in. Not because I saw them, but just because I'm like, oh shit, he might have DTs. And yeah, you can't save the hatchery. I mean, I have an Overlord morphing immediately, but what can you do? They're just going to kill it so fast. You know, +2 attack DTs are just going to be death on anything. Now, I can't really chase them down here because I'm pretty sure, yeah, DTs move faster than an unupgraded Overseer. I start Overseer speed immediately once I'm thinking about that. I retake this, I take this, just doing a double expand to try to catch back up. But despite my worker lead here, I feel like I'm kind of far behind. What I might really have wanted to do here, you know, and especially what I wanted to do when I scouted it, is I should have just dumped all of this into roaches and pushed. Because I think I could hammer this down, you know, take my overseer over here and really punish the third. You know, and I scout all of those cannons, but I guess what I wasn't thinking, and what I never really think about, which I should do more, is he invested so much in all of those DTs. I mean, he has +2 and he has DTs. I know that. And that is a huge investment. I mean, he can't have Colossus now. It is impossible for him to have Colossus, and he's just making Immortals. So, you know, maybe the Roach push here wouldn't have worked as he's pulling out all these Archons and Immortals. But I feel like I needed to do something because I had a huge bank. I'm 50 supply ahead despite that. You know, and that's really frustrating looking at the replay when you're like, oh shit, you know, I had a 30 worker lead at one point and a 50 supply advantage, but I just sit here. And that's my other issue, other than scouting, I'd say, is I'm so passive. Why am I being so passive? You know, because he doesn't even have sentries. You know, that's the other thing. Not only does he not have Colossus, he doesn't have any fucking sentries. So what's the risk of, you know, poking with my roaches and seeing what he has? You know, and if I look at this and I see all these cannons, you know, I kill 3 of them, he pulls his army, and I say, oh shit, I don't want to fight that with my roach ball, I can just walk away. We're even on harvesters now. We're even on bases. I mean, I guess I'm up 1 base, but I haven't really saturated that at all. You know, looking for a 4th, because I suspect he's going to want to take one. But still, it's just so passive, which is pretty regrettable, really. Now, this actually causes a thorn in my side for the whole fucking game. I never scouted it. I never know it's there, and you'll see I keep trying to take this base, and I just never do it. But I'm going to speed the game up just a little bit, because right now all I'm doing is we're both macroing up, we're both making armies. He's getting ahead in harvesters now, actually, which is a silly place for Zerg to be, especially a Zerg with 2,500 minerals. I mean, yeah, I don't know, like, my macro is both good and bad. You know, I feel like I do such a good job of getting those workers out, getting the bases saturated, but then I don't spend it, and it just gets away from me like this. You know, I know late game Zerg is going to be banking resources. You know, I don't scout with that as well as I should, but I do go over here, I see the probe, I deny that 4th, but this 4th comes up. We're just doing double time here, because I don't want this review to take forever. You know, and I think I just burrow him in the middle there, yeah. Just to make it more obnoxious for him to take it. So I have so many roaches, and I have all these corruptors, but I'm going to get fucked, I can tell you that. I remember the game well enough that, you know, at this point I'm maxed, and in my mind as Zerg, if you're maxed against a Protoss, unless you have a damn good reason, you need to be pushing, and you need to be trading armies. But at this point, it's too late. You know, I'm trading armies too late, because he already has this, holy Jesus, you know. Often, I'll criticize Protoss that don't build sentries because it's sloppy and lazy, and I deny this, yay, but lose my army. But if you have that many Immortals and Colossi, I don't think you need to. Now, I probably should have run my Corruptors here. I'm like, hey, he doesn't have that many Stalkers, and he doesn't have that many Stalkers. But I still don't think it was cost efficient throwing away, you know, 8 Corruptors for 1, maybe 2 Colossus. That's just not smart. Oh, and he takes another base here, something else I never scouted, and if my Overlord spread, especially when I have speedy Overlords, was better, that would have been simple. So what I'm going to just pause for 1 second, actually I'll slow it down, is I built a bunch of Hydras, because I saw all of those Immortals, and no sentries, and I thought, hey, Hydras are pretty good against Immortals. In fact, they're excellent against Immortals. He does have a kind of high Colossus count later. He's getting it back up, and I'm like, I killed a bunch of Colossus, he has an assload of Immortals. I'm feeling pretty good about the 2-2 Hydralisks against kind of a 3-2 Protoss composition here. Thing is, he has so many bases, and I feel like I'm lost at this point, you know, looking at the replay. Because I'm going to go in here, I'm going to lose this army, not cost effectively. Even though I felt like it should have been better than that with all those Hydras, his Colossus running, but I just got rolled over. But still, he has more bases than me now. He's ahead in upgrades. He has this he's retaining all of these immortals, which they're not as valuable as Colossus, for instance.